We shall continue by quickly hopping onto the Forbidden app. Let's make a draft of what Unchained might look like in this upcoming format. So I think this is like a solid start. I mean, Ashe, I'm just assuming Ashe is mandatory. This is like your baseline, right? This is your baseline deck. You have like 11 slots open in this case. The Wailing, some people make that a third Abominable Chamber. I think that's also okay. I don't think you play 7. You could. Then we have the contract package. Yep, that's probably it. Is that mandatory? Have you seen anyone without it? It's probably mandatory, right? Hoban doesn't play it. He says it's not worth the break. Okay, so just to recap very quickly. So you activate Dark Contract with the gate. You add Vice King Requiem, which you then put into the Pendulum Scale, use its effect to destroy the Dark Contract, and then summon it out. And then it's going to be a level 7 or level 9, but the level doesn't matter. And then you can just make a DDD Divisor King Deus Machinex on top. Right? That's all. All. So it's a Fiend Extender. It's a Fiend Extender that you can turn into a Zeus immediately. And you get to pop a card. Yeah, because this one gets to pop a card and gain life points. Yeah. And then also another big reason why people play it, I think, is the fact that if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a Dark Contract card from your deck to your hand. So if you make the standard end board and they kill this guy, you get the DD contract you get the Dark Contract for follow-up. Yeah, I think I would play that probably. It's like I would be inclined to take the risk of drawing this, but yeah, I mean, it's not 100% necessary or like staple, but like it's a pretty good deal, I think. It's a pretty good deal. And I also think I've seen multiple people play 2 of this. I think that's probably worth it. Am I missing? Oh wait, I put the wrong one. This one. Am I missing something in the extra deck? Goddess. Goddess is good, I think. Goddess. I've seen a lot of people play one of this. That's probably okay. It's either no Griffin or second or no second Anguish. That's like the standard extra deck, I think. The reason why they play the DDD Stone King Darius, by the way, because people have been asking, is because you have a lot of level 3s. So you can just overlay into that, and then you can overlay into this, and then you make a fat Zeus, 4 material Zeus, right? That's basically what you need to do. Also, it can just make a Zeus on its own if you crash into a big thing. You can, yeah, you can turn Tour Guide into a Zeus. You might cut the rank 3 because it was mainly counterplay to Shifter. Well, if Flu is still a thing, if Flu is a bad matchup, you might still want to do it. The other 3s lock you into Fiend. Yeah. But then you can still make a big Machinex, right? So it's just you can't convert it into a Zeus, but you can still make the big Machinex with the other 3s. So, you know. Yeah. So this is like, I think this is a solid place to start testing Unchained. You want to have the rest of it be, I don't know, in the current format it was books, right? I'm not sure if it's still books. Eclipse, Book of Moon. Thrust is good in it. It could be something like this. Alright, it could be that. I don't know what the 40th card here would be, but I think this is a very solid starting point for Unchained. Change of Heart? I don't think it would be Change of Heart here as the 40th card, but the reality is probably you would play maybe one or two other cards less. Like maybe you would play 2 Thrust, no Herald of the Abyss in the main deck, something like this, because you already play Goddess. And then you play one more hand trap, one more staple, like a Fenrir, Nib, Imperm. I think that's where my head would be, right? Like I think I would like something like this, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be Imperm, but like could be anything else, right? That's where I would start. Let me send you Goo. Do you have an updated version pack? Because you're not playing Dortmund, right? You're not playing Dortmund. You can leak. I played 40 cards for the first time in 10 years. Did you play 40 in the 3v3 as well? No, right? You played slightly more. Do you have your Dortmund list? Not your Dortmund list, your Cancun list. Have you posted already? Leak the Cancun list pack. Do it. Cut the Ash, play 3 tactics. Okay, we have exclusive pack deck profile right now. Give me a second. 3rd Thrust. Up. Cut Duster. 40th slot is 1 Herald. Oh, Herald of the Abyss. Yeah, okay. So it's just this? With Imperm? Did you play Imperm? Eclipse. Oh, yeah, because it's last format. Of course, you played Eclipse. Yeah. So you did cut the dog, huh? You did cut the dog. Weird. I thought you did. I thought you had that dog in you or whatever it was. Where'd the dog go? Weird. It's almost like the dog made your deck brick more and was not worth it. I don't know. Yeah, no, this looks solid. It's like all I honestly though, moving forward, I don't really see a reason not to play Ash, dude. Ash seems such a good card in this format, don't you think? Like moving forward, I get why you maybe didn't want to play it for this event because Cash was still a thing and Ash is not very good against Cash. But moving forward, I feel like Ash is just such a solid card, dude. Like moving forward, I think Ash is very strong. I think Book of Eclipse becomes a lot less mandatory. I don't know if you want to run triple... I don't know if you want to run triple tactics thrust and triple tactics talents in this upcoming format. We'll see. I like Ash, but it's all very close to each other, right? The lists are very interchangeable. The side goo is Spooky Dogwood. I treated the mirror like Tearlament Mirror. Bro, don't tell people to play Spooky Dogwood, please. Don't tell people to play Spooky Dogwood pack. Stop right now. Stop what you're saying right now. No. So what's the deal with this? It's like you go into game 2 or game 3. There's like 15 minutes left on the clock. You put in Dogwood. Is that what you're telling me right now? You're telling me there's 15 minutes left, 25 minutes left. I'm supposed to Dogwood my opponent because the mirror takes so long that if they keep special summoning, they will lose even if there's 20 minutes left. God damn. It's Max C. Don't say it's Max C. No, there's no way it's Max C. Stop. 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 Bro, Pack said Spooky Dogwood is Max C in the mirror. I mean, it could be okay, I guess, because the mirror does seem, and this is once again, this is coming from someone who has not really played Unchained very much yet. I've played it a little bit, but not as much as I wanted to, or as I would like to. If I was going to play, and I might, if I play Unchained at YCS Dortmund, I definitely need a lot more practice. So I don't have the most experience, but I could definitely see the mirror being super grindy and super long, kind of like a tier limit mirror. And we did sometimes play Spooky Dogwood in the tier limit mirror, unironically, and not just for time, right? Josh, don't fall for it. Don't worry, I think I have the capability to actually think about the things that are being said to me and evaluate them. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine, thank you. But thank you for your concerns, KK Morris. I think I'll be alright, though. Masarike, thank you for the prime. Appreciate that. Also, Kozak the Ghost, thank you so much for the first time prime, everybody. Appreciate you guys. We cited Ultimate Slayer this event. See, I think Ultimate Slayer, we just recorded a board breaker tier list, and I included Ultimate Slayer, and I said that card is interesting because I think Ultimate Slayer is a interesting card with the freaking Evil Twin against Unchained. I think you just you do a lot. Jesse or I will show the combo soon to beat Slayer. See, that's the thing. When evaluating cards like Nib or Ultimate Slayer, I think the better someone is with Unchained, there will be ways to play around them. But the majority of your opponents probably won't. And on the other hand, like forcing people to play around your cards is not inherently a bad thing. Right? So do you actually make a different end board because of Ultimate Slayer, though? Like, is that actually something you do? I'm not sure if it's popular enough for that just yet. Like, in order for people to respect a card like Ultimate Slayer, the card needs to be popular. The board we make is always the same. Okay, what is the board? Is the board different from Unchained Soul of Rage, the Wave King Caesar, and the Trap? Rank 6 with Sharvara in hand and 1 trap set. Do you still have the Unchained Soul of Rage? Or do you just not have that? It's in the graveyard? Ah, okay. I see. So you end on... Okay, I see. So you end on Wave King High Caesar. Wave High King Caesar and Sharvara in hand. And the trap card instead of having this on the board. I mean, Marionette Might is still okay against it, right? Marionette Might still outs the Caesar, but I guess they activate Marionette Might on Caesar, you change Sharvara on it, so at least they don't get anything. Colin CB, thank you so much for the tier 1. Appreciate the first time sub. Thank you for the support. And X Scarlight, thank you for the 2 months as well. I don't know if I just said that, but appreciate you. It does work against Slayer unless you play an XYZ target. If they play an XYZ target for Slayer, you're kind of cooked, no? I guess you have... Yeah, no, you're cooked. Right, Pack? There's nothing good except Mirror Large. I mean, if they're playing a mirror match, right? They already have targets. It doesn't matter if they're not good. It's just the fact that they out your Wave King Caesar, and then you don't really have anything, right? They just send a Wave King High Caesar, or whatever, right? And they just shuffle this back. But so does Eclipse. Well, Eclipse is worse, though, because if they just activate Eclipse, you can chain the Sharvara, pop the Caesar, and then bring back... You can trigger Yama in the grave to bring back your Unchained Soul of Rage still. right? It's much better into Eclipse than Slayer, right? Slayer prevents you from stopping the Sharvara, from chaining Sharvara, right? That's the crucial part. Like, your board is Wave King Caesar, this plus Sharvara, and if they go Ultimate Slayer on the Caesar, you can't chain Sharvara and you don't get the contract search, so your trap card is dead right now. You have to use Unchained Soul of Sharvara to pop the trap, which is very mid, and then you have to like pop the trap, float into Rakea pop Sharvara, and then then you can trigger Yama in the graveyard. Or you could, yeah, you can trigger it off just destroying the trap. You still have the Unchained Soul of Rage, right? But that's it. That's why the trap is chamber. Ah, okay. Okay, you end on this trap if you can choose. Okay, I see. That makes sense. I mean, you can always choose. Yeah, okay. You end on this one. All right. It's still, I wouldn't say it's immune to Ultimate Slayer. I would not say that. It's not auto loss, but it's I don't think it's insane. Into like, I think if you play against a 5-card hand including an Ultimate Slayer, like 6 cards including Ultimate Slayer, or like 5 cards plus Ultimate Slayer, I don't think that's that strong of a board. I don't think it's that strong, the opener, but it is good against Nib. The line is good against Nib, I think, when you don't have to leave the thingy on when you don't have to go for Unchained Soul Rage. Yeah. By the way, Pac, do you think Unchained is by far the best deck? I am actually curious, because I think the dynamic changes with Kashtira not being there anymore. I think the fact that people will now respect Unchained as like the #1 deck, I think could make a big difference for it. I still think it's really good. I'm not sure if it's like actually the best by far. Yeah. Like, I still think it's pretty solid. I can message you instead. Yeah, dude, you don't have to leak anything crazy right now, but I just like, overall, I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to look at Unchained because the deck is really strong and I like it a lot. I just think that when everyone focuses on it, it does suffer from that a fair amount. I think it can suffer from that because the boards are far from unbreakable. The boards are very, very far from unbreakable, and like, people will also know how to play against it a lot better at some point. So I think that's worth noting. Normal Robina, strongest soldier. Yeah, I mean, are we really gonna have to deal with flu again? I don't want to deal with flu again. Can we just have gentleman's agreement? No one brings flu. Like, honestly, chat, the Yu-Gi-Oh community, if we are just absolute giga chads, we don't rely on a ban list at all, right? We don't need a ban list. If we just all collectively promise we will never play Shifter again, they don't need to ban it, right? Because we just don't play it, right? Gentleman's agreement, no Shifter, no anti-spell. What if? What if? Side Zombie World, then use Marionette Might because it's free change on anything. Yeah. I unironically still think, like, Slayer was a good idea. Like, Slayer is a good idea probably, but I still think Marionette Might is freaking so good against Unchained. I guess if they do the one where they have Sharvara in hand, it becomes worse. But even then, like, it's fine. I think Marionette Might is pretty good. I cannot find a good breaker for chain. I think the problem for board breaking against Unchained is the fact that there's no one card that just does it, right? There's no one card where you're like, okay, if I draw that card, I'm fine. Every time, right? It's always like you need a combination of cards, right? Where like against, for example, against Kashtira, you would be like, okay, if I have a Talons, I'm fine. Probably. Against Unchained, it's like very tough to just have one card and win off of it. But I think most decks that have a solid engine is like fine, right? Like for example, like you say you make a board of Wave King Caesar, Sharvara in hand, and Abominable Chamber. If my opponent has, if you have like a Ultimate Slayer and a solid 5-card engine hand, I think you can beat that. I think you can beat that. I don't think you need to draw like 2 or 3 insane board breakers to beat it. I think you can beat it with solid engine hand, right? What do you think about Crow, Pack? I've been thinking a lot about Crow. I think Crow looks solid. Crow looks... I think Crow looks solid in this format. What do you... You Crow this shit, right? You Crow this guy. Isn't Crowing this insane? Crow over Druis. The reason why Crow over Druis is that you can Crow this dude, and this dude is a water. And you can also Crow... you can also Crow against Pearly, which you also can't use Bestials against. You can Crow the Pearly spells. I outed the Tikaboo with it. Target a card you control, destroy it, then you can destroy a spell and trap on the field. Is this how you pop your Link monster, by the way, in the standard combo to play around Nib and end on Sharvara in hand? Is that how you do it? Is you go Shiyama, Bourbon, and then you pop the Yama? Or the... No, you pop the Soul of Rage? Sarama? Oh, okay, I see. Instead of popping a set card again. Yeah, you just reset and pop. Okay. How does it... What is the line? Okay, hold up. I need some pack teaching right now, because I've definitely played not enough Unchained. Okay, we draw a tour guide. How do I... What is the line that beats Nib? Enlighten me. Real quick. Unless it's like absolutely hidden goo knowledge, whatever. Show me. So, okay. 1, 2... Surely this. Oops. Right. 3. Effect. What do I add? Add Aruha. Send this. Set. I'll set escape. All right. We have 3 summons now. Aruha effect. Surely? Yeah, we have to, right? Aruha. Pop this. Alright, DB lagging. Classic. Stop lagging! Hello? Monka S? Okay. The mistake is summoning some Sarama here. Okay. So what do I summon? Blue thingy? But Okay, what's so bad? What's so bad about like if you get nibbed here, what's the problem? If they nib here, you just need another spell trap to pop, right? With the Shiyama in the grave, right? Yeah. But you could, right? You could get nibbed here, and if you don't have a spell trap, you pass. But okay, let's assume no nib. But okay, I mean, so this one pops this. This triggers summon this. Or what? Or do we now go into no, we need Sarama at some point. We need Sarama. This. Do you link into Rage here with these two now? Yeah. So your reason why we can't get nibbed is because any spell trap in our hand is potential still we do combo, right? Yeah, you go effect, you reset the trap, pop this. This adds back the Sharvara. And then you go this, pop the Sarama. This, right? But you would still get nibbed here, no? What if you get nibbed here? Try nib here? Okay. This one goes to the bottom, right? Because we used it. This goes to the graveyard. I have a token. Does this trigger on any? If a card you control is by battle or card effect. So would I use Sharvara target token? Yeah, we go Sharvara on the token, right? Or the back row? Okay. And then we trigger this. Oh, it's just Fiend Monster. Okay, never mind. I can't pop the token. So Yama brings back Rage. Anguish. Link with Nib. Yeah, make Muckraker, bring back Anguish, make Griffin. Okay. I see. I will say, this ability to play around Nib heavily relies on... It does heavily rely on the fact... It's a mind game, right? You're making a mind game because you're... You still expose yourself to a Nibiru, but you're acting like you have an extent. Like, if you don't have one of the spell and traps, which, I mean, there's a lot, right? You have prison, all the spell and traps, thrust works, talents probably works. You have a lot of ways to play through Nip with tour guide, right? But theoretically, right? Theoretically, one tour guide does not play through Nips, right? it's like one tour guide plus pretty much almost any other card in your deck does. Right? Yeah, I get that. I get that. I understand that. That's that is very interesting. Right? Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense in your list because you're playing the 6 triple tactics cards. So like you have so many ways to punish Nib, right? Yeah. Interesting. But I guess in theory, I guess what that means in theory is if you're playing against the deck that, because your backup plan is pretty much always the Griffin, right? If you're playing against a deck where Griffin isn't that good, then Nib would really hurt, right? But I guess Griffin just is good against almost anything. Doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter. But it depends on the matchup a little bit. If I open another trap, I can like rank 6 plus rage to Nib. Yeah. How easy is it to play around Nib in hands that don't have tour guide? Like, can the Aruha plus back row hand also do the same? Does it work the exact same way? I'm pretty sure it does, right? Because you just get to the same point, right? It's the same situation, no? It's kind of the same, right? Like Aruha plus a trap also gets to the same situation because you have yeah, you probably get there. Pack, how much do you think deck lockdown does to this deck? I think deck lockdown is pretty toxic. Also, hold up, I was chatting with Pack. Let me say, did someone say Peanut Butter? Thank you for the 2 months. Monarch, thank you for the 6. Leo, thank you for the gift sub to Jojo. And Infrared, thank you for the 4 months. Are you okay with no Rika hits on the ban list? I think, like, I'm okay with no Rika hits on the ban list from, like, from a balancing perspective. I don't think Rika was too strong. But I have this... Like, my philosophy about the ban list is slightly different. Like, I don't think only decks that are too strong should be on it. I think it should also hit some decks that are just badly designed. And I think Rika is a badly designed deck because it's just all in combo. Turn 1, play the game play with yourself for 10 minutes and win the game. Even though it's not super powerful, I think it should have been on there, but I can live with it, right? I can live with it. What about Soul Drain? Well, Soul Drain is good when you go first, but I think the one thing about deck lockdown that's so interesting is a floodgate. But like the one interesting thing about deck lockdown is that it's also good going second because it locks them out of their entire grind game. The only problem is that, I mean, they might have this card to pop it immediately, but the card is not bad. Fabi sub, thank you for the prime. Appreciate you. Thank you. Do they not just pop it? Well, if they can, yes. But if you manage to force the trap card first, then they can't. And even if they do, I mean, like that's the thing. If the bottom line of your card, right? If the worst your card can do is trade 1-for-1 with their interruption, that's not bad, right? For a floodgate going second, that's pretty much the best a floodgate going second can ever do, right? If my floodgate still trades with their back row going second, that's a pretty strong indicator it's a good card, right? Like, normally when you draw a floodgate going second, it's just dead, right? Because you just, they already have a board and they will not let you play, and then your floodgate doesn't stop them from doing anything, right? And so, a card going second that's a floodgate when you go first, but also forces their interruptions when you go second, that can be pretty good. How good is Gravekeeper's Inscription? I guess we can talk about some of these more. Like, okay, what is like interesting anti-Unchained tech, right? What is already there? There's like Marionette Might. There is, like I said, Deck Lockdown. And there's Gravekeeper's Inscription, which is at the start of your main phase 1, apply one of the following effects until the end of your opponent's turn. You either apply Dweller to both people, you say neither player can banish cards from the graveyard, or you say neither player can special summon monsters from the graveyard. This card I think is okay. But yeah, I don't want to talk about the obviously good cards, right? I don't want to collect every single card that's good against Unchained right now, because obviously there can be only one is good, right? I want to talk about the stuff that's maybe less well known. That's like maybe like sleeper cards, right? Like yeah, of course there can be only one is good against it, but like that's not, no one needs help with that, right? No one needs that information. So which effect do you choose? Okay, when you go first, you just choose the Dweller effect, right? Obviously. But when you go second, it's probably still the Dweller, right? It's probably still the Dweller effect. The problem is you still need to deal with what's on the board, right? Silent Graveyard. Silent Graveyard. You know why I think Silent Graveyard is significantly worse than Gravekeeper's Inscription? Like going first, both are fine, I think. Going second, Silent Graveyard, you have to discard a card, which is bad. But the even bigger problem is that Silent Graveyard does not deal with their next turn, right? With Gravekeeper's Inscription, you don't have to kill them that turn. You don't have to worry about their follow-up at all. Next turn, they're still locked, right? Because this card is until the end of your opponent's turn. So you Gravekeeper's Inscription, you start playing into their board. Even if you can't kill them, or even if you can't set up your own crazy board or whatever, right? Next turn, they can still not play. So as long as you can deal with the board, you don't have to worry about anything. So that's why Gravekeeper's Inscription is better, I think. Heavenly Prison? Heavenly Prison. Set cards can't be destroyed by card effects. I mean, yeah, if you go first and you reveal Lord of the Heavenly Prison, that's pretty bad against, like, Unchained is pretty annoyed by that. That's pretty fucked up. But they can probably still play around it. I don't think you would play this. I don't think you would play. You might play this in like Labyrinth. You might play this against like Labyrinth and just like get the double purpose of protecting your back row and being annoying for your opponent, right? Especially because there's at least, I would say, like a 20% chance that your opponent just doesn't realize that it also affects their own cards. So you're playing Labyrinth and you're like, okay, affect Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Your opponent doesn't really think about it. You're like, okay, well, Lord of the Heavenly Prison to protect from Feather Duster. So they go like, set trap, activate a Rua, target trap. You're like, okay, well, fine, you know? There's like a 20 to 25% chance that just happens when you play Lab and you activate that card. They will just not think about it. Rescue Ace 2? Ah, Rescue Ace can set it up with Gallant Granite. That's interesting. That's some gooey shit right there, right? Making Gallant Granite to search Lord of the Heavenly Prison to protect your back row and to freaking annoy Unchained. That's funny. That's funny. That's why I sided one evenly. Well, like, the problem is that, like, don't they play Ibli? I thought Rescue Ace played Ibli, which is also fucked up. Isn't Dweller better? Yeah, actually, Pack. If I can make a rank 4 against Unchained, why am I making Gallant Granite to search Lord of the Heavenly Prison when I can just activate Abyss Dweller? I guess you can still thrust Search Storm, yeah. I guess, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, those are... All these cards here are somewhat interesting against Unchained. Like, I think deck lockdown is insane when you go first. Still could be okay when you go second, but you need to draw a good hand. Like, if they go full combo, you need to draw a really good hand to go, like, break their board and have deck lockdown. Marionette Might is very solid. Inscription, I think, is solid, but your deck needs to be able to support it. Like, your deck needs to not have graveyard effects, which not all the decks can. The same, like, Silent Graveyard, I think, is just worse Inscription. And then Lord of the Evelyn Prison is funny gimmick. Is Flu a hard counter for Unchained? It's a very hard matchup, I think. Yeah. It's a very, very hard matchup for Unchained. It's not unwinnable, but it definitely is very hard. Because pretty much every single disruption, like the Unchained deck... The Unchained deck has a couple forms of disruption. One is Unchained Soul of Rage, which lets you link with your opponent's special summoned monsters, which is not possible against Flunder. Or they can make Nightmare Griffin, which stops special summoned monsters from activating their effects. Doesn't matter against Flunder. Or you make Wave Hiking Caesar, which negates special summons. So your entire extra deck does not do shit against Flunder, pretty much. You can make a very fat Machinex, but you can only do that if you know it's Flunder, right? You would have to know it's Flunder to do that. So game one, blind, Flunder's always going to be really strong against it. Yeah, like you basically only have this against Flunder. That's the only disruption that Unchained sets up, which is the pop. So they counter like your field spell or something. But yeah, it's tough. Why is Lava Golem not broken against Unchained? Oh, it is. It's very good against Unchained. Unless they make the line that Pac was talking about earlier. But Lava Golem, in theory, is really strong against all the standard Unchained boards. It is very good. It's just that not many decks can play Lava Golem, right? Like, Purely can. And then most other top tier decks can't. Unless you consider something like Dark World or whatever. Like, those decks can play Lava Golem, but like, outside of Purely, there's not much. Labyrinth can. Yeah, Labyrinth can.